When everyone else sees her, she gets laughed at, especially by her worst enemy. And Cam's leg gets exposed. And do you know what Tracy does? She starts judging it. She says it's a bit ropey of a leg because it's hairy. And if I'm honest, I think her memory of her mother is better than her mother is in real life. Hey guys! Today we're going to be reacting to the story of Tracy Beaker by Jacqueline Wilson. But first, if you're new around here, listen up, because I've got a little secret for you. I'm not just any YouTuber. I am Starlet the Starlet, and I'm a mystery / thriller writer. So I don't just react, I review. And the way I do it is simple. If I like something, I add a point, starting from last video's total. And if I don't, I take one off. Now, as y'all can see, I got a couple friends here with me. These are my girls, Angel and Glitter. And this is my little boy Seth. Right, let's jump in. Do you know what Jenny tells her? She says they've got a real writer coming round to visit the house. It's just like a normal journalist for a newspaper. Apparently she's doing an article on kids in care. Tracy says that she tried her best to make herself look presentable. After Tracy plaited her hair, she says that she tried to make the sides of her hair go a bit curly with spit. She thought she still looked a bit boring, so she snuck into Adele's room, who's another kid at the care home. She has tons of makeup lying all over her room. So she put on some blusher, some pink glossy lipstick, mascara on her lashes and her eyebrows, and then she put a lot of powder on, like icing on top of a cake. Oh, right, okay, so we left off at the point where Tracy just made a big fat embarrassment of herself in front of the writer that's visiting the care home. Tracy tried to make herself look extra special for this writer, so she put on this special jumper and she stole one of the old girl's makeup and used a bunch of it all over her face. And she tried to do something about her messy, tangly hair as well. But when everyone else sees her, she gets laughed at, especially by her worst enemies, Justine and Louise. The head care worker, Jenny, knows that Tracy was really looking forward to meeting the writer, Cam, and she tries to introduce Tracy to her, but Tracy kind of separates herself from everyone else. She literally just goes off to the back of the room and stands in a corner watching everyone else on the other side of the room crowd around the writer. The only person that stands by Tracy is this poor little wimpy kid called Peter. He tries to tell her not to listen to everyone else and that she looks good, but Tracy calls him a stupid little creep and tells him to clear off, so he does. But after he's gone, Tracy regrets it, because having him was better than having no one. See, that right there is proof that Tracy ain't all bad. A lot of the other kids and her social worker, Elaine the Pain, they all think that she's just trouble, but nah, she has some redeeming qualities. Right, so Tracy's watching Cam, the writer, talk to all the other kids, but the moment she first laid eyes on Cam, she refused to give her credit as an actual writer, because Tracy believes that writers are these big, famous, glamorous people, you know, like actors and singers. But Cam was just this kind of ordinary looking, slightly nerdy woman. From her corner in the back of the room, Tracy notices that, yeah, Cam is talking to all the other kids, but she is also hella nervous, because she keeps fidgeting with her pen and paper, and she also bites her nails. Tracy can't believe that. Like, she thought grown-ups don't do those type of things. Oh my days, that takes me back. Do any of y'all remember how, as a young kid, all grown-ups are these boring old serious people who never do anything wrong and that they knew everything? Y'all remember believing that? I know I sure did. I believed that for way longer than I probably should have. In this book, Tracy's like 10 years old, I think, but I believed that kind of thing until I was maybe about 13. That was around the point when I truly started to realize that adults aren't perfect, especially my parents. They were some of the first ones I kind of realized that about, and I can honestly say that for the years that I believed that grown-ups knew everything and were always right and always knew what to do, I actually think that during those years I was happier. It might just be because I was young and I didn't really have any serious problems or responsibilities. You know, life was just kind of carefree back then. But anyway. Ooh. Right, so another thing Tracy can't believe about Cam is that she's actually talking to the other kids and not at the other kids. It seems that that's what these care kids are used to. I mean, it is true. Like, that is how a lot of adults treat kids. Like, when I was little, I remember being talked at by my parents, my teachers, my doctors, etc. Because as a kid, you're made to not talk back, you know? And if you do, and you challenge what the adult is saying, or even if you just state your own opinion, you get yelled at and told that you're disrespectful and stuff like that. Half the time, it's BS. Like, there are times where kids are genuinely correct. And second of all, that can lead to kids having problems later in life. Like, that can lead to kids becoming rebellious during their teens. Or having trust issues with grown-ups, you know? Like, I think it's just so unhealthy to treat kids that way. Just what I thought. The social workers are the #1 people who do this to the care kids. Tracy says that they make personal comments, they say stupid things, or they strike the "nothing you can say will shock me, sweetie" pose. Oh my god. An example Tracy gives is how these social workers would say stuff like, I guess you're feeling really angry today, Tracy. Right after she's screamed the house down and wrecked her bedroom. Like, I have to agree with Tracy on this. Like, if she's doing stuff like that, of course she's angry. Oh my days. So I'm gonna share something kind of personal about me, but I've had similar experiences like this with psychologists and psychiatrists. Now, don't go making assumptions. Don't go thinking I'm crazy or unstable just because I've seen a psychologist before. The reason I have is because I've had depression ever since I was about 13, and I've had anxiety ever since I was maybe about 16. Okay, so I've had a lot of appointments with psychiatrists and psychologists because my mental health, especially during my teens, got to a point where it became dangerous. It's not like that anymore, but it's definitely still there. And during my appointments with my psychologists and psychiatrists, I tell them how and why I've been feeling a certain way, and they just ask the dumbest questions. Like, sometimes they just straight up don't get it. They cannot understand how I'm feeling or why I'm feeling that way, even when I spell it out for them. Like, I told my psychologist once that the things my parents say really, really affect me. I don't care so much what complete strangers think, but I care more what my family thinks of me. And I told him that if my mum and a complete stranger both call me fat, I'd be more upset that my mum called me fat, which she has done, I'm not gonna lie. But my psychologist could not for the life of me understand why. And it should be obvious, right? Like, you guys get it, right? It's because my mum is closer to me, you know? And I care about her. And I want to make her happy and proud, you know? So I care what she thinks more. And when I tried to tell this to my psychologist, he was like, why does it matter? Why do you care so much about what your mother thinks? Why can't you just ignore it or forget it? Bruh. And I'm like, are you kidding me? So anyway, I completely understand where Tracy's coming from. Exactly, Tracy. In her run about the social workers, she's like, they don't understand peanuts. They're not the ones in care. I am. I have felt the exact same way about my other doctors. Not just my mental health doctors. Like, I am in hospital a lot because of my sickle cell. I'm in there like every couple months. And a sickle cell crisis is unbelievably painful. It literally feels like you are being stabbed again and again and again by a dozen flaming swords. But when I'm in hospital, half the time, my doctors assume I'm exaggerating it, or even that I'm faking it. I've never ever done that before. But the reason they've accused me of it is just because there have apparently been other sickle cell patients that have done this thing. And so now, these doctors think all sickle patients do stuff like that. There have been times where I have been screaming and crying, unable to control myself, and even just sitting up in bed is too much for me. And despite seeing me in that state, these doctors still refuse to effectively treat my pain. You know, they just give me whatever treatment they want, regardless of whether it actually works or not. I've even been given treatments that the doctors knew I was allergic to, because that was how little they cared. Like, I want to do story times about all these experiences I've had. Would you guys want to see that? Anyway, man, that was a massive tangent. I'm sorry. So yeah, Tracy is still in awe that Cam is so different than all the other adults who she's come across. She expected her to be like all brisk and organized and professional, and she thought she'd like take notes of the kids' histories and personalities and stuff. Except Cam pretty much does the exact opposite of that. She keeps fidgeting and doesn't take any notes and stuff. And oh my god, when a couple of the really young kids try and climb up on her lap, she actually seems kind of put off by that, when most other visitors get all wrapped up in it and love the little one. Oh my god. Oh my god, there's a kid that goes by Lil Wayne. Oh my god, like the rapper. Oh no. Apparently Lil Wayne has the runniest nose ever. And he likes to bury his face into people's clothes, which obviously gets his snot everywhere. Oh my days. Cam holds Lil Wayne at arm's length and tries to distract him by giving him her pen to play with. And Cam let this other little kid called Little Becky have a ride on her foot and climb up and down her legs so that she doesn't feel left out and start crying. Oh my days. Are you kidding me, Tracy? So when Becky climbs up Cam's legs, she pulls up her jeans a bit and Cam's leg gets exposed. And do you know what Tracy does? She starts judging it. She legit starts judging how good Cam's leg looks. She says it's a bit ropey of a leg because it's hairy. And then you know what she did next? She compares Cam's legs to her mum's legs. Like, I get that Tracy misses her mum and she adores her, but it's not really fair to make comparisons like that, especially if your mum really is this big, famous, glamorous woman when Cam is just an ordinary woman. I don't know how much of this is true because Tracy always fantasizes about her mum, and if I'm honest, I think her memory of her mother is better than her mother is in real life. But according to Tracy, her mum always has her legs shaved, and then she'd wear these sheer see-through tights so that she could show them off. Here we go. This is the bit I was waiting for. We've finally got around to Cam's actual writing and the sort of things she does as a writer. Because, as I said at the beginning, I'm a mystery / thriller writer. And although I have written a bunch of stories, I haven't actually had anything published yet. Like, bruh, actually having my own book published that I can hold in my own hands, just like this book, is what I've dreamed about doing my entire life. Literally since I was about 5 or 6 years old. The sort of stuff I've written most are short stories, and I'm trying to work on a novel at the moment, whilst also doing some research about the publishing industry, because it is hardcore sometimes. Getting a book published can take years for some writers. From the moment you've written your last page to the moment you're able to hold your own book in your hands takes about 1 to 2 years if you're lucky. But it can take some writers like half a decade before they get published. It doesn't put me off though. It just means I have to hustle, you know, and do a bit of this, you know. The first few stories Cam wrote didn't really sell much, so she started writing romance novels, which did better. This gets the older girls in the care home interested, but the boys are all disgusted by it. And Cam admits that, yeah, some of her romance stories have disgusting things in it, but if that is what her audience wants to read, you know, that's a sacrifice she has to make. Goodness, I seriously hope that I don't ever have to get to a point where I can't stand my own writing, but everyone else loves it. That would suck. Plus, I don't know if I really want to kind of sell out like that. Anyway, that is where I have to leave it for now. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give that like button and that notification bell a little kiss. And subscribe to become a Starlet. Don't forget to follow me on Snapchat, Twitter, Instagram and Tumblr. And if you have read something that has just left you shook beyond repair, let me know in the comments. I'll see you guys later. Bye!